Oh, Mr. Dimples, we have just been having so much fun with Jim Payne. Yeah, I know it. I having fun with him. You know, he's a lot of fun. He's a lot of fun. Okay, so once again, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Payne is back for the. We got the second part. Hit the button, Sheila. Okay, Jim Payne, yay! Part two, yay! This is exciting, Sheila. This is gonna do it for us. We're gonna hit big with this one, Sheila. Okay, let's just. So. From part one, Sheila, what did you do that for? I'm just saying part one. It sounds like Vincent Price, you know? Vincent Price. It did. Tell you kiddies out there, he was hilarious, okay? So anyway, Jim, we welcome you back. We were talking about your deaning and all the sex parties he's had, you know, all the drugs he's What's the shorty, Sheila? He's not on drugs. He doesn't do drugs. He said he didn't do drugs, but that he has a lot of fun with people who have drugs. Yeah, and they send him emails about, hey, how are you doing? And how much, and they talk about how much he's made an impact in their life. Really? Anybody come up and say, hey, I'm pregnant? No.
Haven't had
Hey, Jim, you got a love child here, Sheila. You got a love child. Mr. Dimples, just cut it out. Okay. What are you on? I don't know. I think it's my pants are too tight. Your pants are too tight.
Well, loosen them up.
Sheila, don't you touch me there. I'm not going to touch you there. Yeah, you're just embarrassing me, Sheila. I can't work with this, Sheila. Let's just keep going. Okay, so anyway, okay, so we talked about that. I'm really interested to learn more about, because we did a show, headphone comedy, out on the beach. I'm more interested to know about the Rubik's Cube, because Sheila can't do that thing. She can't do it. She just looks at it and says, oh, what's this? Okay. Yeah, that's a Rubik's Cube.
The Rubik's Cube came out about in the United States. I'll be close here. I don't have it exactly right, but I'll be close. In the about 1982. Now it started in Europe, and then came to the United States a few years later. And of course, it really hit real big. And so, 82, 75, yeah, about 72, about 82. And when it came, I was at the University of Virginia, and I was doing a lot of consulting, so I was on a plane a lot. You need to kill time when you're on the plane. And so I bought a Rubik's Cube at the airport there and started fiddling around with it. And then what I did is I got where I could master the cube. It took me a long time, but I found it fascinating. And then I just sort of took it everywhere with me. And just when you got to realize at that time, there was, there wasn't much. You just watched television and you went to the shows. And so to entertain yourself, there wasn't anything like social media or phones like this or anything, or, like your phones. But anyway, make a long story short, I would use it to kill time. And then, of course, I went to Mississippi and didn't do anything with the cube there. And then my son was he was doing sort of like an not an internship, but it was like a semester thing. He's an engineer and he was doing it at MIT. And I went to MIT to visit him, and we went into a cigar store, and they had a cube on the shelf there at the cigar store. And I told my wife, SM, I said, I can work that cube. And she said, you can't work that cube. I said, yeah, I can. So I bought the cube, took it home, and started working it. And I was able to, there's 5 steps to the cube. That's basically it. And I did step 1, 2, 3, 4. I got into 5, and I couldn't do it. And I tried for a week, and of course you're doing it over and over and over. And you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I got to the point where I was going to give up. And this is exactly what happened. In the middle of the night, somehow I'd say it'd be about 4 o'clock. I jumped up and I realized what I was doing wrong, came in, did the cube, and was able to do step 5. So I became master of the cube again. And so I showed my wife, and I could do it over and over and over and over. And then I had been doing volunteer work in the school districts there with reading. I have a big thing about teaching reading, and I had come across this idea of kids that have struggling with reading. Some of them, many of them, the reason why they continue to struggle with reading is they just give up. They don't try hard. And so I come across this idea about perseverance, being able to stick with it. So I started studying all of the instructional manuals and tapes that were done on how to put a Rubik's Cube together or solve it. And I came up, and my daughter and my grandson, Grant, and my oldest daughter, Kim, we took all that information, put it together, and because I have expertise in the area of special education, I know how to work with individuals that are struggling in terms of their learning. We put together the simplest way to solve a Rubik's Cube, the simplest way. And so the idea was, could we go into, we'll say, second or a third grade class and teach kids how to work the Rubik's Cube, which we think teaches them perseverance, how not to give up, how to stick with it. You're going to make improvements in real small steps. With the idea that if we could get them to stick with it for the entire year, would it affect their reading scores? And lo and behold, we did it. And at the end of the year, and since they already do reading scores at the first of the year and at the end of the year to show gains throughout the United States in second, third grade, it was real easy to tell if they had any gains or if they had any losses. And when we did this first time, the class that we used had significantly more gains as a class in reading than the other second grades or the other third grades. And then lo and behold, we found out they even had greater gains in math. And we hadn't done anything any different with reading or with math. In other words, they had the same material, same everything. And we were wondering, well, maybe it had to do with the teacher that was selected or whatever it is. So then we did another one and we got gains again. And then we did another one. We started getting more depth. And then we did them in Dover, Delaware. We did them in Batesville, Mississippi. And then a couple of years ago, I did it in Boone, North Carolina when I moved here. Every time we've done it, the class exceeds other classes at the same level in their reading and their math. So we think we're onto something. We think we've figured out not only how to teach the cube, we figured out how to have kids stay interested in the cube. We've never had, by the way, we've done over 800 kids. Not a kid has given up. A kid has stayed with it for the entire year, and we've never had anybody not show a reading gain or a math gain. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal. So my belief is that now, remember, I've written books on special ed. I know something about teaching, at least I'm supposed to, and I've done a lot of it. And I worked a lot in the public schools as a volunteer, as well as before I got my doctorate, I taught in the public schools. But anyway, what I've come to the conclusion is the way that we teach, there's 3 ways that we teach reading. predominantly. Now, some people would say this is oversimplification. I don't think it's an oversimplification. I think this is the way it works. You either do phonics, you do whole language, or you do basal text. Phonics, sounds, whole language, person talks about it, you write the story down, they do their own story. Basal text, that'd be like the Dick and Jane thing, or they have it at that level. I believe that most kids, learn from any of those three approaches without too much difficulty. Then that leaves you about 10% that are a year or more behind. And of that 10%, half of those, that'd be 50% or 5% of the population, can take any of those three methods and learn to read with a little bit of help. They don't even need much help. They just need somebody to be patient with them, listen to them, help them a little bit. When they hesitate or make a mistake, they wait 5 seconds, they correct them and let it move on. Don't interrupt the continuity and flow. That leaves you with 5% of the population that need something more intense. And in those that are more intense, I would say half of those, maybe a little over half, they need strong remediation, diagnosis, somebody that knows what they're doing, and they can learn to read. Well, it leaves you about 1%, and that's me, that no matter what method you use, no matter what it is, they just don't get it. There's something wrong. For instance, in my situation, I have reversal and inversion problems. I can't tell the difference between a D, B, P, and Q. I'll reverse letters like, let's say, cat, C-A-T, I may see it T-A-C. It's messed up. Even today, sometimes I'll write my name J-I-M, I'll put the J backwards. So there's something wrong with the way I'm wired up here. I don't know what it is. And, but coming back to this group here, just taking a regular third grade class, a regular second grade class. The reason I take second, third grade is fourth grade is literacy. If you can read fourth grade, you're literate. Now you can be at the fourth grade level and you can be in sixth grade. So you're a couple of years behind, but you can still struggle through a little bit. I think, Sile, we had talked about in your case, you had looked at your records and you could read at fourth grade level, but you were older. You had taken a Gates, not the Gates McKillop, you taken one of the others. And so what happened is you could struggle through classes. Now, you may not be at the top of the class, but you weren't completely lost, okay, because you could get a little bit of it. So what the idea is that trying to catch people so they won't give up, so they realize you got to stick with it no matter what it is, but we're talking about reading and math in this particular time. And if I can ingrain in a kid not to give up, it helps them on the playground. It helps them in other courses. It helps in art, music, no matter what it is. You can't give up. You don't want to give up. And you have it within yourself not to give up. So some people talk about it as grit. There's a difference between a grit and perseverance, but that's not it. But let me show you the difference here in just a minute. There we go. Here's a cube. All right, let me just show you just very, very, just the simplicity. The thing I'm very proud of that you ask is about the thing with the cube. My daughter and my grandson, and then another colleague of mine, Sam Gilbert, we've come up with the simplest way to work the cube. I'm going to show you what I mean by the simplest way and what's different from our system than any other system. I'm going to mix this up. Okay, first thing, I'm going to mix this up. It doesn't make any difference what I do. Just give me just a little bit. I'll mix it up quite a bit. Much of what we learned, now we looked at all the ways that people teach the cube. And so we came up with the simplest way using special education techniques. But much of what we ended up with came from the students themselves showing us an easier way to do it, or a simpler way to do it, or a simpler way to remember it. Now, the first thing, and we did not know this, by the way, many of the kids would start working with it today, okay, in today's time frame. Now, we got to remember, I've been doing this now for 10 years, okay, with the cube in public schools as a volunteer. Many of the kids haven't had Legos, or they haven't had Lincoln Logs, or haven't had manipulatives that they have. And so they have trouble even just turning the cube. They have trouble just turning it, okay? So the first thing that we learned is this, is that and we learned this from them. They began to teach, in other words, kids might learn it, but other kids might be struggling with it. And they'll say, well, wait a minute, here's what you do. The first thing you do is you find the center die here that's white. Okay, this is blue. Okay, here it is. This is white. Okay, now that's going to go on top. This is going to be the top of the cube. So we're going to put it on top. All right. So the first thing we learned is they would take it and they'd start moving it like this to get the white cross. The thing is we want to make a white cross here. That's the first step. All right. So what would happen is they would begin to move the thing around, and then this white would be on the side. So what they did is they said, what you do is you take the white, okay, and you put the cube on a table. Okay, for instance, okay, let's say it's like this. So now the white is up here and it'll always be on top. It'll always be on top. So that's one, there's no instruction manual, there's no video, there's no one that ever teaches you, keep this on the table, okay? And let me tell you, that makes a huge difference, especially if a kid might have a learning disability, or they might be a little slow in learning, or they might have a little manipulation problem, eye-hand coordination. This is a big deal, okay? And we learn this from students. The next thing that happens is this, is that in order to get the white cross up here, okay, it's got to come from the middle layer, all right? So what you do is you use the one finger technique. Again, we learned this from kids in class that taught us. The one finger technique is you take your finger, okay, and you go across this middle layer, and when you find one that is white, okay, here's one that's white right here, okay, what you do is it's white here, you just roll it up. And so now what that does is it starts to make this cross. All right, now let's imagine I have this on the table. All right, I take my finger again, I go around, there, that's yellow. Here's another white one, okay, right here. So I'm going to roll it up. Now I've got two white ones here. See, I'm starting to make the cross here. All right, so I go around again. Now there's no whites. Now I take two fingers. We learned this from them. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the two fingers on the top and the bottom. And if we find a white, to get it on top, it has to come from the middle. Now, isn't this clever? All right, so what you do is we find this white one here. It can't go on top. It's got to come from the middle. So we put it in the middle. Now watch me. We put it in the middle. Now it's here. Now we're going to rotate it up. But now here's the trick. When you come up here, if we were to rotate it up, it knocks this one off. So you can't knock them off. Once you get it up here, you don't want to knock it off. To keep from knocking it off, all you do is you rotate the top. You roll this up. Now we have three. We only have one more to go. Okay, so now what we do is we take two fingers, we go around. Okay, it's not there. It's not on the bottom. Okay, so it's not in the middle. It's not on the top. So that's one finger, two fingers. I got one left. It has to be on the bottom. I look on the bottom and there it is. Okay. So now what I do is I look on the bottom, I look up here, and what I do is it's called the pincher technique. And so I put my thumb here, okay, and I put my finger here, and what it does is it hits a white one. So I have to rotate the bottom, put the pincher on again, and put it here. And here now, this is not white. So watch me now. I just turn it, and I got the cross. That's step number one. Now, the interesting thing is that we went through all of the systems. Okay, yeah, they might teach various, but they never use the, put it on the table, white on top. They never use the one finger. They never use the two fingers, and they never teach you about the pincher technique. Now, I'm going to tell you, I could go through the whole thing with you, because on each of the steps, there's 5 steps. On each of the steps, we've got something in there. Everybody teaches steps the same, mostly the same. It gets a little more difficult as you get people that are smarter. You get a little more difficult because you can do it faster. You're going to try to do it faster, but doing it step by step the way we do it, every of those steps, every little sub-step, mini-step, we probably learn most of that from kids that we've taught it from. And when back when we were doing it in Arizona, that's where the Rubik's Cube people, their headquarters were. They heard about us. They flew in. At that time, we were doing our Batesville, Mississippi, picked them up at the airport, took them in. They couldn't believe it. Here's what they told me, the people there. Now that company's been sold now to Japan. Japan moved it to Canada, so it's out of Canada now. I don't have contact with them anymore. Okay, but I did have contact with them for a while. But anyway, here's what they told me. The average people will go in and they'll buy the cube for their kids, or the kids will buy the cube. They'll fiddle around with it. Kids that are of average intelligence, sometimes maybe above average, sometimes below, they'll fiddle around with the cube for about a week. They give up on it and throw it in the box. The people that work the cube and begin to get more and more in the cube, they're gifted. So the thing that became interesting to me is, how could we take this cube and get it where average people could work it? And then we found out we could get it where everybody could work it. Special needs kids can work it, okay? Even if they have an intellectual challenge, all right? And so the idea is we've got it broken down in such small pieces, like with the fingers and putting it on the table and all this, that anybody can do it. And then when we find out they can do it and they go home, their parents are shocked because their parents can't solve the cube. All right. And so not only does it show them that they can do something and that they can persevere, it gives them status. And what do you think we found out happened? The kids start teaching their parents how to work the cube.
Okay, well, that was our interview with Jim Payne. Thank you, Jim. We really appreciate it. Yeah, Jim, thank you very much. Comedian, Professor Emeritus, great overall, great educator. Yeah, great educator. You're just repeating everything I'm saying. I'm just repeating everything you say, Sheila. Are you okay? Well, anyway, well, thank you, Jim. It was a pleasure. We hope to see you out there on the open mics out there. Yeah, you just see you. Sheila will do some drugs. I don't do drugs. Yeah, you do. You just do it all the time, Sheila. No, I don't. No, I don't. Well, thank you so much. This has been our podcast, third podcast. They're in 2 parts with Jim Payne, Sheila, and the duck. Until then, y'all have a good night. Good night, y'all. Press the button, Sheila. Wait a minute. Wait. Keep the recording. Let's see. React. Oh, yay. Thank you. Yay. How you doing? Oh my goodness gracious, this is hilarious.
Well, you're pretty good. I'll tell you what, you guys worked really good on this one. You guys kept going back and forth. And Mister Dimples, I couldn't see Sheila's lips move. I couldn't see her lips move.
I did. It didn't? No, it didn't. We're doing a new exercise. We're going. She does her exercises in the morning. She looks like really weird. Do it again, Sheila. I'm not going to say anything, Sheila. It's just don't say it.
Wait, I noticed the last couple of weeks, I guess it's been, your glasses. Those glasses are new.
Yeah, they're new. I've got these are the studio glasses, but I've got a pair like this that's driving glasses I use for driving.
I love them. Where did you get them? Where did you get them?
I got them. I got these off of Amazon, and I got my prescription from Sile.
Okay.
And and then I've got one. Then I got another pair that I just use. What are you doing, Sheila? You're getting too close to me. I got another pair like this that I use. They're progressive lenses, so I can use these when I'm at work or doing other things. Doing other things, Sheila. Doing other things. Doing other things, Sheila. That's really weird. She likes a cigar. Shh, Mister Dimples, be quiet. She likes to shiddle. She's just shiddling. I'm not fiddling anyway. So I got these, but yeah, I like them because it's like it's the image. It's the image.
I love them. I just love them. They're perfect for your act. They're perfect for your act.
Yeah,
I like.
All right, go ahead. You were gonna say?
I like Mister Dimples' outfit too. I don't think I've seen this outfit.
No, well, this is what I wore for the 4th of July. Look at
okay. See, because of are those must be are those firework pants? What are those fireworks?
Yeah, the fireworks. They go off in my pants.
Listen, they're neat.
And then the shirt, I've got a blue shirt like this.
I like the collar.
Yeah, and then he's got a cravat right there.
I see it.
That's all. That's what all the. Yeah, okay, I won't say it. Don't say it. And then also I've got a blue shirt. Then he's got his track outfit that he wears. Then he's got the hoodie that I put over this during the wintertime. Yeah, because I got to stay warm. It's really crazy.
I've seen you perform once with the hoodie.
Yeah, and that was before I gave him pants, though.
Good.
Because they don't want to see nothing. We want to protect your bits. Yeah, my bits. Yeah, you don't have tits. That rhymes, Sheila. Just shh. Shh, shh, shh. Mr. Nipples, that's what I am. I don't have any, but they call me Mr. Nipples. Well, anyway. Well, Jim, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you for asking me to do it and putting up with me. And I'm looking forward to seeing you back at Dirty Bull. I have not, you knew that SM got cancer, so I have not been out for about 6 months. So I'm going to start. Well, actually, I have started about a week ago because I'm trying to get ready for this contest. So I've only been back on it now about a couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks. And but in terms of open mics, I've only done steel strings and zogs. I have not. I did the idiot box once. So I've done I've done 3 idiot box, steel strings, and zogs. That's all I've done all year long. So we're in the 7th month, and so I've just been out of it. And so I hope to get back into it on a regular basis and get to. Now I used to get things invited me to do, or if I wanted to do Dirty Bull, just like everybody does. But now they've stopped sending that out. Is that right? Because I don't get it anymore.
They purged the emails. So for people like myself who haven't been signing up on a regular basis, they purged the email.
But that's what happened with me because, see, I hadn't signed up for 6, 7 months. Okay, so I'll get it. So when you get on, do you go online, or how do you get back in the track?
I go to the website.
You go to the website,
or I find an old email where there's a sign up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just get an old email or an old notification and just click on that, and it'll take you to that week.
Okay.
But so I don't like going out there when it's outside. I don't know. We do terrible when it's outside. I don't know why.
You like do inside?
I like it when we're inside. And of course, August 3rd, we're going to be having the headphone thing again, and we'll be doing live on Roku, so that'll be good. So that's 8 to 10, 7 to 10 minute sets. And so I'm going to be using part of that audition for BGT.
Yeah, I've got that down. August the 3rd.
Right, Saturday, August 3rd.
That's coming up. It's pretty quick.
Yeah. So we're real excited. Yeah, Sheila's really excited. She's going to audition for Britain's Got Talent.
Good.
Because I was
parts of that off.
I was booked. We're booked to go to Denbigh, England. We got a show in Denbigh, England.
Good.
So hopefully though, with the passport, we'll get together. We'll fly on over there. And it's like drugs. Mister Dimples, just
now what type of thing you going to do in England? How long is it going to be? How many times?
10 minute set. We're just going to do what we normally do, but then what we're going to do is talk about the differences between English speaking and American speaking. Like the British people don't pronounce their T's. Little, we say little, and then things like that. And then we're going to do a thing where we. Mr. Dimples, we're going to put a blindfold on him. Yeah. And we're going to have an object. We're going to hand it to the judges of BGT or somewhere and say, okay, put on the thing and hand it, say, Mr. Dimples, Mr. Dimples is going to ask you questions about this object. And then he asks questions about, and then at the end, he guesses what it is. The joke is that I'm the one that sees what it is.
I get it.
And Jay Johnson did this. Jay Johnson is a friend of mine. He's a ventriloquist. He was on Soap, the sitcom Soap back in the day. And he did this same thing where his puppet was blindfolded and two of the guys were there. Two of the husbands were there, and they were with their wives. And the husbands were like, wow, that's really cool. He guessed what it was. And the wives were looking at their husbands like, oh, dear God, don't you get it? And so it's like, and they were saying, because Jay Johnson was a ventriloquist, his character could see what the object was. And they thought it was cool that this puppet figured out what the object was. It was really hilarious. So, yeah, we're going to try that. And then I'm going to fall in love with Ananda.
What's the date?
December 6th.
Okay, that's toward the end of the year, huh?
Yeah, so it'll give me time to get my passport in order, get a plane ticket and over there, and then I'm going to call some of my old British friends and just kind of just ask them, hey, do you know of a place where we can perform, and just try to catch fire over there.
That'd be great. That'd be great while you're over there. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that's just wonderful. And the America's Got Talent. I hope you do well. I want you to get on there. That you most certainly deserve it. And but you just keep sticking with it.